address. Si desea hacer un comentario, por favor llene una tarjeta y lo manda al correo electrónico bphachkersercards@cdcr.ca.gov. La tarjeta está disponible en nuestro sitio web al cdcr.ca.gov/BPH. Llenar la tarjeta es voluntario, quien quiera puede asistir y hacer comentarios. Si quiere mantenerse anónimo, ponga anónimo desde su nombre o ponga los últimos 2 números de su número telefónico. También puede llamar al 916-322-4752 y dejar la siguiente información: su nombre o diga anónimo, su número de teléfono o los últimos 2 números, su organización, el nombre y el número del caso, si está de acuerdo con o en contra del caso, su relación al caso, si es pariente, abogado, fiscal o víctima. Cuenta que no proveemos intérpretes para ningún idioma. Por favor, haga arreglos con un amigo o familiar que le pueda servir de intérprete. Cartas en español pueden mandarse por adelantado al mismo correo electrónico al cual se mandan las tarjetas.
Good morning, Madam Moderator. Are we ready?
Yes, we are, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Morning, Commissioners. Are we ready? Excellent. Good morning. I'm Scott Wyckoff, Executive Officer for the Board of Parole Hearings. Thank you for being with us today and welcome to the Board of Parole Hearings Monthly Executive Board Meeting. We are hosting this meeting in person and by video and telephone using Microsoft Teams. We have a majority of the Commissioners in person for this meeting as required by law. For those participating by video, if you experience connectivity issues during the meeting, we have found that turning off your camera may help you see and hear those who are speaking and help us to hear you when you are speaking. If you wish to speak today, we ask that you please fill out a speaker card on the board's website under the tab called Board Meetings and the link called Meeting Agendas. We will also provide an opportunity for those who have not submitted a speaker card to comment. You can find additional documents with helpful instructions and tips for participating in today's meeting on the board's website. Just go to the tab called Board Meetings and select the link for Meeting Agendas. There is also a helpline available during the meeting if you are experiencing difficulties. Please call 916-445-4072. The phone number is also on the first page of today's agenda and the agenda page of the board's website. If no one immediately answers your call, please leave a message. Someone will return your call as quickly as possible. Most commissioners and board staff use computers to take notes during the meeting, so please do not be concerned if a commissioner is looking at their computer while someone is speaking. We ask that you please mute your computer microphone or phone. If you do not mute yourself, a moderator will mute you to eliminate feedback and background noise. Your comments are important to us, and we want to hear from everyone. For this reason, comments may only be made after the moderator calls a speaker's name or identifies them by their login credentials. We will call cases in the order they are listed on the agenda. Once a speaker is called upon, they will be able to unmute their microphone to make a comment. Please be respectful and refrain from engaging in disruptive behavior, or you may be removed from the meeting. Please note that some speakers may include explicit crime details in their statements during this meeting. This could trigger strong reactions or be difficult to hear for some people and is not appropriate for children. Written statements may be submitted to the email address on the agenda, and written statements are considered the same as oral comments. All comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. We ask that you please be respectful of the time limits. Also, If you timely submitted a written statement to the board, the commissioners will consider it. For this reason, you are encouraged to reference your written statement and use your time today to provide additional information as needed. Once the board has heard comments on each case on the agenda, the board will go into closed session to deliberate and vote on each case. Board staff will post decisions for today's cases within 24 hours in the lobby on the ground floor of the board's office at 1515 K Street, Sacramento, and on the board's website. I will now turn the meeting over to Commissioner Tyra.
Thank you, Mr. Wyckoff. Good morning, everyone. Today's date is April 22, 2025. The Board of Parole Hearings Executive Board meeting is reconvened. I will now call roll of the commissioners participating in public comment, deliberations, and voting on today's cases. Chair is present. Commissioner Cassidy.
Present.
Commissioner Garland.
Present.
Commissioner Infante.
Present.
Commissioner Kuzel.
Present.
Commissioner Long.
Present.
Commissioner Minor.
Present.
Present.
Commissioner Nudim.
Present.
Ruff.
Present.
Commissioner Sharif.
Present.
Commissioner Thornton.
Present.
Please note for the minutes that a majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person at 1515 K Street in Sacramento. We will now hear comments regarding cases on today's agenda. For each case, first, we will take comments from those in support of the incarcerated person, starting with speaker cards, and then those who did not submit a speaker card. Then we will take comments from those in opposition to the incarcerated person, starting with the speaker cards, and then calling those who did not submit a speaker card. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. There is no rebuttal. If you are speaking, please eliminate any background noise. The moderator will call your name or identity or identify you by phone number when it is your turn. Your 2 minutes will begin when you start to speak. First item on the agenda is a tie vote for Edward Brown, CDCR number C97905. Public comment is not permitted under the Penal Code. So we will move on to the next item on the agenda. The next case, Reginald Daniels, item 36. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. We're not actually able to see the speaker cards list at this time. Would you like me just to make an open call as normal?
We do not have any speaker cards for item 36, Reginald Daniels. This is a pardon application, and I do not see any speaker cards. So let's
Just
proceed.
continue as normal? Perfect.
And-
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of Reginald Daniels and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you would like to speak in support of Reginald Daniels, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Reginald Daniels? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Reginald Daniels.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Reginald Daniels.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Reginald Daniels and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Reginald Daniels, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition to Reginald Daniels? Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak about Reginald Daniels? Chairperson, there appears to be no speakers for Reginald Daniels.
Thank you. The next case is Jeffrey Foy, item 37, P38219. Moderators, please call speakers in support. We do have a number of speaker cards for the Foy case. I have Mr. Schuler. Push the microphone. There we go, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Nick Schuler. I'm the Deputy Director of Communications for CAL FIRE. I did submit a letter of support. Jeff has worked for our organization for more than 20 years, achieving the rank of battalion chief. I don't want to belabor it. I provided a letter, and he's done a great job, and I hope you please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have the next speaker card, Jeffrey Foy.
Good morning, Honorable Board of Commissioners. My name is Jeffrey Foy. I'm a husband, father, son, brother, mentor, business owner, and a battalion chief for CAL FIRE. For over 20 years, I've dedicated my life to protecting others, mentoring firefighters, and serving my community. But my journey to this career and the man I am today began with hardship, mistakes, incarceration, and ultimately redemption. As a young man, I lost my way. Struggling with personal pain, I made choices that led to my incarceration. It was the wake-up call I needed. I got sober, educated myself, and helped educate others as an assistant in the GD class at Solano State Prison. And I committed to rebuilding my life, not just for myself, but for my family and the people I could serve. That commitment led me to firefighting and a career that allowed me to give back every single day. Through the years, I've continued to mentor young firefighters and aspiring ones, trained future leaders, supported families of the fallen, including friends, families of friends who have fallen, and co-founded a group dedicated to helping first responders process the trauma of our profession. I've given my heart, body, and soul to serving others, but service does come at a cost. The toll of this career has caught up with me, and I have now been medically retired due to many injuries. While this chapter is closing, I know I gave it everything, and I had, and in return gave me so much more than I could have ever processed. As I look toward the future, I want to continue making a difference. A pardon would ensure I can step forward without limitations, opening doors to new opportunities where I can still serve, lead, and give back. My past does not define me, my actions do. Early in my career, I wrote a letter to the police chief of Pleasanton where I was arrested, thanking him and his officers for saving my life. His response is something I carry with me to this very day, a reminder of how far I've come. I'm asking you to see the man I've become and to grant me a governor's pardon. This is not just about closure. It's about ensuring that I can continue to serve my community in new ways for years to come. And more importantly, someday to be able to share with my kids that regardless of the hurdles and obstacles in my life, I was able to overcome those and succeed in life. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
All right, thank you. Moderator, we don't have any more speaker cards for the Foy case.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Jeffrey Foy and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Jeffrey Foy, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Jeffrey Foy? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Jeffrey Foy.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition.
Sorry, one moment. See if we can mute that. There you go, sir. If you would like to speak in opposition of Jeffrey Foy and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Jeffrey Foy, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Jeffrey Foy? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Jeffrey Foy? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Jeffrey Foy.
Thank you, moderator. Item 38 on the agenda, Sandra Johnson, another pardon application. We do have speaker cards in support.
I see a few of them. Anita McGowan. Anita McGowan?
It's a different case.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir.
Different case. I have Zoe Polk.
Good morning. I don't want a handout. I want to work. Those were the words that Sandra said to me 15 years ago in my office at the San Francisco Human Rights Commission. Sandra had contacted me after being illegally terminated from her employer. She told me how she had been a long-time and award-winning employee and how that job had been a lifeline to her as she healed from her past. She and I worked together to not only get her job reinstated, but to make sure that she would serve as an inspiration to other people who had also been terminated by that employer unfairly. From that 1-hour meeting, I have developed a 15-year relationship with Sandra, and she has been both a mentor and a motivator for me. She's been invaluable as an organizer and activist, helping to pass city and the county and state laws, and making sure that people do not forget about the humanity of formerly incarcerated people. When I accepted my current role as the executive director of the East Bay Community Law Center, one of the largest providers of free legal services in California, one of the first decisions I made was to call Sandra and ask her to serve on our board of directors. I knew that she would not only continue to provide invaluable counsel to me, but make sure that the voices of formerly incarcerated people would be heard and lifted up at every level of this organization and at our state policymaking. She has not only done that, but more on our board of directors, and I'm truly grateful to continue to have her as a colleague and as an inspiration to the people who walk through our doors. I strongly urge you to vote in support of her pardon from the governor's office. I assure you that she will continue to be an inspiration and a motivator for formerly incarcerated people and anyone who needs uplifting during this really incredible time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker card is Sandra Johnson.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come today and stand before you to share my story. Since my last release from incarceration, I have worked hard to give back to the community by being honest, respectful, and courteous to everyone that needs my help and services. Today, my passion is helping people that are struggling with re-entering back into community from incarceration. I am extremely grateful to read some of the support letters and learn how people that have worked with me over the past years see who I am since I've paroled from prison, and I hope that those letters of support can convey my journey to this board also today. I have earned my AA degree, is taking classes towards getting my BA, have graduated from a year-long policy fellowship with the Women's Policy Foundation that me and my team was credited with passing Senate Bill 474. I also completed Elder Freeman Policy Fellow and was a key witness that helped pass AB 1008, the California Fair Chance Act, into law. Was a senior organizer at Legal Services for prisons with children, but today I'm working hard to help my community that I come from. I serve on the board of the East Bay Community Law Center and the Place for Grace, where I regularly volunteer with the Place for Grace program to take children in for a week-long visit with their incarcerated parents. But the highlight of my journey since my last incarceration is going back into the state of California prisons and being an example and giving hope to many people that are still inside. It is my hope today that the members of this board and the state of California recognize that I earned the governor's pardon. Thank you so much for your attention, consideration, and allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. I get nervous.
Moderator, those are all the speaker cards we have here.
Thank you, sir. If you would like to speak in support of Sandra Johnson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
We have one more person in person, moderator.
I see. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, everybody. My name is Farida Perez Alcar, and I'm an attorney who focuses on civil rights and policy work. Most recently, I worked for the ACLU of Northern California, and prior to that, I worked at a nonprofit focused on reentry. Today, I'm speaking on support of Sandra Johnson, who I have had the honor of working with at my first job out of law school. From the moment Sandra and I met, she became someone that I sought for advice and inspiration in my career and life. Sandra taught me what it means to be a true advocate for justice and for the community. I consider Sandra to be a pillar of the Oakland community. For the 7 years that I've known her, she has been a support system for me without me ever having to ask. Sandra, like myself, grew up in a highly policed and under-resourced community. And so when I was struggling to pass the bar exam due to my own anxiety and PTSD, it was Sandra who reminded me of the importance of someone like myself entering the legal field. We became friends, and when I passed the bar exam in 2020, she was one of the first people to celebrate me. She bought me a bottle of champagne despite being completely sober, and today she continues to be one of my main supporters. Sandra does not realize the power and influence that she has. She is humble despite the amazing story that she holds. She is cited in various publications by civil rights leaders as a reason for the success of fair chance hiring today in this country. I cannot think of a better candidate than Sandra to be able to demonstrate what it means to thrive after incarceration. I have studied the harm of incarceration for over a decade. I have seen my family members who never recover from it. And I have worked with people inside and out of prison and jails and facing death row. It can be a very hopeless environment and much struggle for very little progress, but it is people like Sandra who hold this light to be able to continue this work. And so I know I'm out of time, but I will leave it there and just say that Sandra will continue to do amazing things. And this pardon would be the final confirmation from the state that rehabilitation is possible and that a person can not only survive, but they can become a leader.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more speaker.
Go ahead.
Recognize Mr. Watley.
Good morning. As some commissioners know, I like to get up here without a speaker card from time to time. And I wasn't planning to talk about this case, but when I saw Sandra's name on here, I just had to, because I've known Sandra for many, many years. And her commitment to supporting and improving the lives of incarcerated people is unwavering. And her inspiration for the rest of us in this work has been deep and long-lasting, life-lasting, I would say. So I strongly recommend that you grant this or recommend this pardon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The first hand that's raised for Rebecca Oyama. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Perfect. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you very much. I'm here in strong support of Sandra Johnson's application for pardon. I would have loved to be present today, and I couldn't be more honored to speak on her behalf. I'm the clinical director at the East Bay Community Law Center. For 5 years prior to that, I was an attorney in the clean slate practice at the East Bay Community Law Center, which is how I got to know Sandra Johnson and witnessed her dedication to reentry and the path of others in her position who has overcome enormous odds to be before you today. When Sandra's record prevented her from keeping her employment many years ago, Ms. Johnson could have been discouraged, could have turned away, and could have turned inward. Instead, what she did is she worked hard as an advocate on this issue to become a champion in support of others who are facing obstacles due to their record, leading to the passage of the statewide Fair Chance Act. She is a voice of wisdom on issues that impact formerly incarcerated people and highlights to me exactly what others have shared about someone who, no matter what, shows up for others who are in need of her support and for her guidance on issues that impact those who are formerly incarcerated in California today. She is an active member of our community. She raises attention to ways that as a board member at EBCLC, she can support our work. She has dedicated herself to our organization, which provides direct legal services to over 4,000 people a year in Alameda County who are low income and face various challenges under the legal systems that they are involved in. She cares deeply about the education that we give to law students. She makes sure that those who will be working in the law understand how it impacts the individuals like herself and those that she has been in community with for years. She's also an inspiration of courage. She went through an extremely exhausting process to gain her certificate
Your
of
2 minutes have
rehabilitation.
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. She is truly a champion of justice and someone who I'm so honored to call a colleague and a friend, and I urge you to grant her pardon today.
Thank you. The next hand up is for Molly Lau. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm here in support today of Sandra Johnson's pardon. And, you know, I've had the amazing pleasure of being her colleague for the last 3 years here at Legal Aid at Work. I'm a staff attorney here. And I've witnessed, you know, her profound empathy for the lives of the individuals that we serve. As an organization, we aim to protect, preserve, and advance the rights of individuals from traditionally underrepresented communities. And having Ms. Johnson on our team furthers the impact of our work. And during the time as her colleague, I've conducted outreach with her at community events and at women's prisons. I have witnessed her testifying for improved fair chance policies and regulations in California's legislature and in front of the Civil Rights Council. I've witnessed her daily interactions with clients and, you know, having had a difficult time finding and maintaining work herself due to her prior convictions. Sandra speaks from the heart with empathy and passion, and it can be felt in all the rooms that she speaks in because I've seen her bring rooms to silence as she's advocated so earnestly for policies now that could have helped her when she was released from prison. And so her firsthand experiences allow her to relate to clients who are trying to rehabilitate themselves during and post-incarceration from a place of mutual understanding and respect. In fact, I've watched her give her personal contact information to people at outreach events in prisons to make sure that they re-enter. And she just wants people to succeed despite their past. She participates, as you know, in community college, Place for Grace, and she's just an amazing colleague, mother, and friend. And outside of work, she just has some of the biggest hearts I've known of. You know, always offers to help where she can. Her and I have fed stray animals together. We've given food out to those in need together, and we've participated in picket lines to better the working conditions for others. There's just so many ways in which she continues to impact us, and she's just an amazing.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I'm here today speaking in support of her pardon. Thank you.
Thank you. Next hand up we have is for Sarah Vincent. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Sarah.
Good morning. I just wanted to come on here briefly in support of Sandra Johnson. I am the interim director of the Racial Economic Justice Program at Legal Aid at Work, and I've had the privilege of working with Sandra now. And in the short time that I've been fortunate enough to work with her, I just wanted to share one story that I think captures just how beautifully she serves and shows compassion to everyone she interacts with. About a little over a month ago, she and I went into CIW with the Last Mile, and it was Sandra's first time being back at CIW since she had been there, and watching her share her story with the women there and telling them about the hope and opportunities that still wait for them upon their release, and to see her tell them, you know, I'll be here waiting for you, I'll help you when you're released, I'll help you get jobs, get connected with people. Like, I'm here for you. The sense of hope that filled that room just because of Sandra's presence and willingness to engage with these women was palpable. In addition to this moment, I've trained with Sandra doing Know Your Rights presentations, and she does not meet a stranger. Like Molly mentioned, she'll give her phone number out. She'll offer to help anyone however she can. And while this decision to me seems like an easy one, that I don't know anyone more deserving of a pardon, I just want to thank you for your time and your consideration. I don't know of anyone who deserves this more and who will continue to do the work that she has been doing for so long, regardless of what happens today. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Sandra Johnson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Sandra Johnson? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Sandra Johnson.
Thank you, moderator. We will take speakers in opposition to Sandra Johnson.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Sandra Johnson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Sandra Johnson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Sandra Johnson? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Sandra Johnson? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Sandra Johnson.
Thank you, moderator. Next item on the agenda, we have 2 agenda items or commutation applications. The next case is Mario Magallon, P76344. This is item 39. We do have a number of speaker cards here, moderator, so let me just go through those. Anita?
Thank you.
Magallon?
Hello, my name is Anita Magallon. I'm Mario's older sister. Since his incarceration began in 1998, Mario has taken full advantage of every opportunity to change. In 2006, he made a sincere commitment to rehabilitation, focusing on substance abuse, recovery, education, vocational training, and most importantly, his faith in Christ. He has earned over 250 certificates and recognitions, his GED, his AA degree, and he's currently working for his bachelor's. He has also passed the state test, substance abuse disorder counselor, and completed programs offered to him. Over the past 21 years, I've witnessed Mario's transformation. He has shown true remorse for his past actions and the impact on victims and his community. Through deep reflection and dedication, he has developed the emotional, mental, and spiritual tools to live a responsible and meaningful life. If granted the chance to return home, our family will truly support him. I own my own home and I worked for Coast Appliance for 25 years. I have the means and flexibility to assist Mario with housing, transportation, and guidance. I truly hope you see he deserves to be released. I am proud to say my brother is a changed man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker card is Ashley Magallon.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Ashley Magallon. I'm the daughter of Mario Magallon. My father has been incarcerated since I was 8 years old. Throughout these years of his incarceration, I have watched his transformation in amazement through many visits and phone calls. I know he has deep remorse for his crime. In the past, my father was a distant person, but today he is very much present. He is present in my life and in the lives of many others. He helps me so much through difficult times by sharing through his own personal experience and by being an example. The man he is today wants to help others through difficult times. I'm very grateful to have him in my life, and I'm extremely proud of him taking advantage of all the resources he could find while incarcerated. If released, I know he has worked hard on himself with extensive programs, and most importantly, he has applied what he has learned to his life. He would be a positive impact on other people and an honorable member of society, continuing to want to better himself and help others. I am prepared to support him financially, emotionally, spiritually. He not only has my full support, but he has also a very strong family support through my sister, grandmother, auntie, uncles, cousins, grandchildren, and many other friends and family members. We are a stable and supportive family that is committed to seeing my father released and succeed in the community. He is ready to come home, and I ask you give him the opportunity to show you. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you. Moderator, we have another speaker card here. Jessica Collins.
Hello, commissioners. I'm the emotional daughter, so I'm going to try to get through this. My name is Jessica Collins. I'm the eldest daughter of Mario McCollum. I currently reside in Chandler, Arizona, where I've been employed with the same company for over 10 years working in public health. I'm here today to share my thoughts, feelings, and the reason why I believe my father deserves an opportunity to be released. Sorry. At a very young age, my father was incarcerated, so I don't have many memories of that time. But however, over the years have passed, he has worked hard, very, very hard, to stay in the right path and stay present and do meaningful things in his life. And with that, I was able to create more memories with him, meaningful memories. Through his deep understanding and years of studying of mental health and substance abuse, he's become someone we all can lean on. He shared valuable tools and insight that have helped not only me, but many others as well. Because of his growth, I truly believe that my father is a changed man. Someone who is now in a position to help himself and uplift others. With that being said, I truly value being supportive and present for my father, helping him and guide him in any way I can, and to continue his journey on recovery and healing. But most importantly, I want to support my father's true passion, and that's helping others improve their lives, just like he did himself. In closing, I respectfully ask you to consider the progress my father has made, the positive impact he continues to make for himself and others. And I ask you to show compassion and give him a chance. I stand fully, not only as his daughter, but as someone who believes in the power of redemption and the importance of family and kneeling and hope. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today.
Thank you. Moderator, those are all the speaker cards we have here.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have a speaker card for Ivan Serrano. Ivan, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Ivan Serrano, if you are with us, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ivan Serrano. I work for a nonprofit organization, and I've known Mr. Magallon for several years and worked with him, aside of him on his recovery and also on my recovery. I'm here to support him. Mr. Magallon is found suitable for parole. I personally know Mr. Magallon, and I know his commitment to change and making amends. I have made my bad decisions as well, and I have dedicated myself to serve others. I know Mr. Magallon will do the same and be a positive member in our community if given the opportunity. I will personally make myself available for Mr. Magallon in support of his path and navigating in his reentry. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker card is for Elizabeth Vargas. Elizabeth, if you're here, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Elizabeth, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth, and I am the mother of Mario Magallon's 2 oldest daughters. I want to share that over the years I've known Mario, I've witnessed a remarkable transformation in him. He is no longer the person I first met. He has completely changed his life. Today, he is someone with a genuine heart and always striving to help others and genuinely give it forward to the right path. His personal growth has been nothing but short, inspiring, and it feels like a deep injustice for someone who has worked so hard to change and to be remained incarcerated. I respectfully ask that you give Mario the opportunity to show the world what an incredible person he has become, and is it a positive impact he can have on society. I truly and sincerely mean this word that I say. Thank you for the opportunity to let me speak.
Thank you. And the last speaker card I have is for Gregory Palayo. Gregory Palayo, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Hello, thank you. I'm Gregory Palayo, nephew of Mario Magallon. I have been following and admiring the progress my uncle has made throughout his rehabilitation. His faith and strength has not only encouraged me in my own walk, but pushed me to be a better husband and father. His positiveness and perspective on life while being incarcerated has not only had a big impact on me, but many of my siblings as well. We are all in support of him and there for him. We believe his testimony will help so many others who are in similar situations. His progress and continued effort to better himself speaks volumes and represents the man he has become. I am also a homeowner and private contractor with the means to assist him in any way, and as many others are. We love him and support him in his release. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Mario Magallon and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. We have a hand raised. Rodolfo Carmona, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, your honorable commissioners. My name is Rodolfo Carmona Sanchez, a formerly incarcerated person, having served over 25 years of an indeterminate sentence before receiving a grant of parole on my initial hearing through the Board of Parole hearings back in May of 2023. I'm currently working at the Road Home Law Office as a parole release specialist in Spanish language translator. I feel humbled to be given this opportunity to speak in support for parole of Mario Magallon. I've known Mario since December 12, 2012. We both arrived from different prisons at BSP at Chowchilla. Not only did we work together at the PI Optical Lab, but we both became part of the rehabilitated community, attending various self-help groups such as AA, CGA, Toastmasters, Timeless, and Christian religious services every Saturday morning. Through all of these activities, our friendship deepened profoundly. Another shared passion of Mario's is the Youth Defender program, which provides enhanced programming and one-on-one mentorship to incarcerated persons ages 18 to 25. Mario became a co-facilitator for such a YLP group classes during the whole week. These multiple commitments reflect Mario's dedication to service as a form of amends, always looking for ways to help others. Today, Mario is a certified OMCP mentor who has volunteered to meet the need of incarcerated population struggling with many forms of addiction, which is the reason he was recently transferred to San Quentin. Mario is a humble man, enthusiastic, and passionate about his work in helping others, respectful towards all staff and co-workers. I'm very fortunate to have met and known Mario as my personal trusted friend. He has been a great example for me because he has worked very hard to demonstrate his change, and I'm particularly proud of the fact that he has utilized his past experiences to mentor other offenders by showing them a better way to live their lives as he has done with me. I wouldn't be here today in life if
Your
Mario
2
would
minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. I honor you in your role in ensuring that only safe, rehabilitated individuals are granted parole to our communities. I offer that Mario Magallon is one such person. Thank you.
Thank you. Israel Garcia, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Israel Garcia, and I currently serve as the Executive Director of the 5 Ventures, Northern California. I'm also a formerly incarcerated person who served 25 years and paroled in 2020 after being found suitable by the Board of Parole hearings. I'm speaking in strong support of Mario Magallon as he seeks commutation. I first met Mario at Valley State Prison in 2013 when I intentionally moved into the room he was living in, seeking a more positive and stable environment. At the time, I was struggling to make better decisions on my own, and Mario became a powerful influence, offering support and modeling responsibility. Over the years, we have done deep work together through group self-reflection and mutual support to understand the roots of the harms we caused and how to take full responsibility for them. Since I've known Mario, he has always pushed himself to face the hard truths of his actions. He feels immense remorse for the harms he caused so many people, and he understands the impact of his actions, not only on the direct survivors of his offenses, but on their families, his own family, and the communities and neighborhoods affected by his choices. His commitment to change has been consistent and sincere. He's remained an active member of programs like CGA, NA, Victim Impact, and Domestic Violence classes. Most recently, Mario graduated from the Occupational Mentor Certification Program, a significant milestone that speaks to both his personal growth and his readiness to support others. In fact, he transferred from Valley State Prison to San Quentin specifically to support participants in the ISUDT program there, a testament to his desire to give back and help others heal. I have witnessed Mario's transformation firsthand. His integrity, humility, and willingness to be of service have not only impacted my life, but the lives of countless others inside. Mario is accountable and lives each day with intention and purpose. I have every confidence that Mario is ready to return to his community. He is someone who has done the hard internal work to change and who is committed to contributing meaningfully to others and the world outside. Should his commutation be granted, I stand ready to support him personally and professionally through mentorship, access to reentry support services, and a strong network of opportunities designed to help him succeed. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. Parker Chamberlain, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to speak this morning and to add my voice in hearty support of the commutation request for Mario Magallon. I've known Mario also since 2012, he and I having been incarcerated both at Valley State Prison. It's important to say that my first relationship, or the beginning of my relationship with Mario, took place in the Prison Industry Authority Optical Lab, which was a high stress environment. Mario, even in 2012, was able to provide poised leadership to other people in the lab, navigating extremely high stress and potentially violent situations with peace, conflict resolution, and, as I said, poise. These characteristics have defined Mario ever since I have known him, and I believe that they make him an extremely worthy candidate for commutation of sentence. I'm the co-executive director of Re-Evolution, which provides reentry programming located in Fresno as well as Los Angeles. Even if Mario is able to parole to a location other than Fresno or Los Angeles, our contacts throughout the state will ensure that Mario has adequate support in the community, including specifically formerly incarcerated people, among whom some of whom spoke today, to ensure that he has the emotional support of navigating what certainly will be intense emotions when he paroles. I submit my total support to Mario as both a friend and a professional colleague, and I urge you to honor this commutation request. Thank you.
Thank you. If you are on the phone and you would like to speak in support of Mario Magallon, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Mario Magallon? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Mario Magallon.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Mario Magallon.
Thank you. We do have a speaker card for Julianne Walker. Julianne, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. On behalf of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, a letter in opposition to the commutation, as well as the initial trial prosecutor statement of view, was submitted this morning, and we hope that you will take that into account. I must say that I'm not really clear what the request of commutation is for. If it's to merely set a parole hearing at an earlier date than his eligibility in 2028, that would seem to be a reasonable request. But if it's to actually release the Mr. Magallon after this hearing, that would be inappropriate. There are numerous victims that deserve to be heard, and they should be heard at a parole hearing, not just based, a release should not be based on a hearing with 2-minute statements given by a plethora of people that support the inmate. The victims should be able to be heard. In addition, the inmate himself should be tested in a parole hearing. It shouldn't be based on everybody's letters and some written statements, which, while good, are not enough. As the commissioners know, it's necessary to actually talk to the inmate face to face and have a discussion to see if concepts are actually internalized. So based on that, the people would have no problem with an earlier parole hearing, but certainly be opposed to a release based on this hearing today. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Mario Magallon and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Mario Magallon, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Mario Magallon? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Mario Magallon? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Mario Magallon.
Thank you. The next case is Kevin Scrub, V55932. This is item 40 on the agenda. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Kevin Scrub and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. We have a hand raised. Chris Simons, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. You're still showing as muted. Chris? Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. I was having issues. Yeah, my name is Christopher Matthew Simons. Me and my wife, Sukara Simons, she wasn't able to be here today due to work as she works for the young adult program and takes care of the severely handicapped. We've known Kevin for about a year since we started visiting our son, who's incarcerated at San Quentin, and Kevin is the lead porter there. Just the care and compassion that I see that he has for his fellow inmates, and also the families, his attention to detail and how he handles his work. I just really appreciate Kevin for being an inspiration for his community and the visitors of San Quentin. I'm always impressed with his compassion and desire to look into how resources through his skunk work game groups help to motivate and improve the lives of others. I personally strongly believe that he shows his rehabilitation through his actions, and he demonstrates his potential for being a law-abiding citizen. And I strongly encourage you to allow his release.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
If you were on the phone and you would like to speak in support of Kevin Shrub, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Kevin Shrub? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Kevin Shrub.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Kevin Shrub and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Kevin Shrub, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Kevin Shrub? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Kevin Shrub? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Kevin Shrub.
Thank you, moderator. We will move on to cases referred by the Chief Counsel. The next case is Robert Danley, T57295. This is item 41 on the agenda. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Robert Danley and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Robert Danley, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Robert Danley? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Robert Danley.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Robert Danley.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have Cynthia Brewer, DDA of Riverside County. I see you, Cynthia. Go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. In this case, the inmate and his attorney entered into a stipulation. We are not asking that the stipulation be vacated. What we are asking is that a hearing, even a stipulation, not go forward without a DA being present. As DAs, we have a legal right to be present at every hearing. By way of background, this hearing was originally scheduled for 1:30. After I assigned it to DA Graham from our LIFER unit, BPH changed the time to 10:30. That day, we had 7 hearings set. Unfortunately, DA Graham had already been assigned another hearing at 8:30. On the day of the hearing, my 8:30 hearing ended early with the stipulation. The Danley hearing was scheduled to be heard by that same panel. I explained to the Commissioner that DA Graham was in another hearing and would not be able to start the Danley hearing early or even at the 10:30 time. The Commissioner told me he would not start the Danley hearing without DA Graham being present. I then began texting DA Graham, asking him to ask his panel if I could step in for him and listen to the victim impact statements and take the decision, thereby freeing him up to go to the Danley hearing. That panel agreed that I could do so. There was a lot of machinations behind the scenes, and when I attempted to enter the Danley Teams meeting to explain what we were doing to accommodate an early start, I discovered that the hearing had already been completed without a DA being present. Commissioners would never think of starting a hearing without inmates' counsel being present. We ask that they not start hearings without DAs being present also. Regarding any other issues that might fall under the attorney-client privilege that we saw yesterday and possibly today, we are respectfully asking that BP provide us some information so that we may argue our position in an informed way. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Robert Danley and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Robert Danley, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Robert Danley? there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Robert Danley? Chairperson, there doesn't appear to be any more speakers for Robert Danley.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Demetrius Franklin, K55108. This is item 42 on the agenda. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Demetrius Franklin and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Demetrius Franklin, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Demetrius Franklin? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Demetrius Franklin.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Demetrius Franklin.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have a speaker, Julianne Walker. Go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. Good morning again. With respect to Mr. Franklin, the confidential information provided about his EDD fraud, restitution avoidance, conducting business without permission, and not being truthful to the panel demonstrates current criminal thinking, failure to follow rules, and lack of insight and remorse in continuing to prey upon victims. This is especially true given that he lied to the panel about it during the hearing. Therefore, LADA requests that the board set a restitution hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Demetrius Franklin and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Demetrius Franklin, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Demetrius Franklin? Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak about Demetrius Franklin? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Demetrius Franklin.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is item 43 on the agenda, Javier Gutierrez, E08457. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have a couple of speaker cards. Karina Bermudez. Karina, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning. I am Corina Bermudez. I am Javier Gutierrez's wife. And my husband was found suitable back in June. So I have seen my husband's transformation from when we were kids. Obviously, we separated different ways. I'm total support for my husband coming home. He has my full support financially, spiritually, and emotionally, everything. I have a very good job. I'm with Stanford Children's Health and Perinatology, and also with County of San Mateo with family law. My husband, I have seen his transformation from '89, from when we were kids, to now he's a man, he's an adult. I've seen the work that he's done, going through classes through AAA, CGA, and GOGI. He's done his work, he's done his rehabilitation, everything that he needs to do with his self-help. And I've seen his improvements. I've seen him grown from a child or a crazy teen to a man now. My husband's family is also in support as well. He has a lot of family support aside from mine and my family. Sorry, it just, he's been gone for 36, 37 years. So I'm asking for a second chance for him, as we all deserve a second chance in life. Our past doesn't define us, who we are in the present. You know, it's how you're gonna make your present. I know my husband's ready for society, and I know with the help with our families and myself and our church, he's gonna be okay. And I promise you, he won't come back. He's been in there all these years. He doesn't want to go back. and he won't. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Nellie Reyna. Nellie, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Nellie Reyna. I'm Hebert Gutierrez's cousin. My family and I are in full support of his release. We can't wait for him to come home. I believe he is a changed person. We all deserve second chances. We are all here to support him emotionally, financially. We all open the doors to our homes to him. We miss him and love him. And yeah, sorry, I'm a little nervous. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Hebert Gutierrez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Hebert Gutierrez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Hebert Gutierrez? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Hebert Gutierrez.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition.
We do have a speaker card. Julianne Walker. Go ahead, Julianne.
Good morning again. The confidential information of restitution avoidance demonstrates current criminal thinking, failure to follow rules, and lack of insight and remorse in continuing to prey upon victims. This would be especially true if it is recent, the present, as Mr. Gutierrez's support people speak of, and if any of the calls which constitute the evidence is with either any of the speakers today or part of his support group, which was probably set forth at his last parole hearing. Thus, the people ask that the board set a rescission hearing to discuss this restitution avoidance. Thank you.
Thank you. If you are on the phone and you would like to, if you would like to speak in opposition to Hebert Gutierrez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Hebert Gutierrez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Hebert Gutierrez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak about Hebert Gutierrez? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Hebert Gutierrez.
Thank you, moderator. The next case, Demetrius Johnson, v. 28920. This is item 44 on the agenda. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Demetrius Johnson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. We have a hand raised for Kimberlyn Jones. Go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kimberlyn Jones. I am the maternal aunt of Demetrius Johnson. There's been letters submitted in support of his parole. I ask that you read them and I pray you hear our heart. Demetrius is the first grandson, and yes, he was spoiled. At the age of 18, he committed robberies and was sentenced to 41 years. At the time, he could not understand why such a hard sentence, in that no one was hurt or killed. For years, he was angry and honestly did not accept accountability for his actions. 8 years ago, a light began to come on. In fact, it was the first time we heard, "I'm here because of my actions." At that point, we began to see a change. He went before the board 5 years ago and was found unsuitable. He was crushed again, but shortly after that, he learned 3 of his friends he used to hang out with were killed. It was then he said, "I get it now. I'm still here because God had to save my life." He also remembered as a teenager, his aunt, was robbed at an ATM. And he said, Auntie, I remember how that affected you. And I regret causing people to suffer that pain. Demetrius has completed many self-help classes, and he has learned coping skills as well as how to deal with trigger points. Also, he has completed enough hours to be gainfully employed in sheet metal upon his release. 5 years ago, he had an admitted conversation on the phone with his little sister, one that he regrets and is glad nothing came of that conversation. Currently, he has no points. He is in level 1 yard and no write-ups for 8 years. Commissioners, his declaration now is that of the Apostle Paul. I have not yet apprehended, but this one thing I do, I put the past behind me and I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of God. He realizes he is not yet what God designed him to be, but given the chance, he will press forward. He said to me on yesterday, Auntie,
Your
God
2 minutes
has
have
given me the
elapsed.
strength.
Please conclude your statement.
Okay. Commissioners, it is our prayer the decision that found him suitable will stand. God bless you, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Demetrius Johnson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Demetrius Johnson? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Demetrius Johnson.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Demetrius Johnson.
Thank you, Chairperson. I do have a speaker card for Julianne Walker. Go ahead.
Good morning again. As with the previous case, the people are particularly concerned about the circumvention of restitution and an EDD claim being discussed with the family member, which is part of the support network for the inmate. Given that both the EDD fraud and the restitution avoidance demonstrate current criminal thinking, failure to follow rules, and lack of insight and remorse in continuing to prey upon victims, the LADA requests that the board set a rescission hearing to discuss this further with the inmate. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Demetrius Johnson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Demetrius Johnson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Demetrius Johnson? Is there anyone else who has not spoken that would like to speak about Demetrius Johnson? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Demetrius Johnson.
Thank you, moderator. Next 2 items are referrals for consideration for rescission hearing. The next case is Shaun Darut D46082. This is item 45 on the agenda. Moderator, please call speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have a speaker card for Bob Polkinghorn. Bob, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone. Bob, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much, and thank you, commissioners, for allowing me a couple minutes to speak in support of Shaun Darut. I'm a former principal and teacher in the California public schools, and also a former faculty member on the University of California, Berkeley campus. I'm retired now, and since my retirement, I have been working at California Medical Facility, CMF, in Vacaville. I volunteer in the hospice unit, and again, I've been there 9 years. Throughout my time, I have come to know Shaun, who volunteers his time in hospice and has for the past 20 plus years. He also has a full-time job at CMF, but in his off hours, he comes to hospice to dedicate his time and his skills in support of the patients, the staff, and inmates who are actually employed in the hospice unit. I've come to know Shaun as a person of integrity, empathy, and intelligence. He has done the work he's needed to do. I've seen growth even in the 9 years. Even he's been incarcerated 38, I believe. But in my 9 years, I've seen growth in Shaun, and I believe he's fully ready to step back into society. I don't believe he poses any risk of reoffending. I believe he's a completely changed person. I would have my own grandchildren and great-grandchildren stay with Shaun were that opportunity to present itself. So I just want to say that I have known Shaun. I believe myself to be a pretty good judge of character after working in the public schools, K through college, all these years. And I believe Shaun is ready to step back into society. I offer my full support, and I deeply appreciate your full consideration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Shaun Darut and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Shaun Darut, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Shaun Darut? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Shaun Darut.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Shaun Darut. Moderator, we do have a speaker card here. Zach Garrison.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Zach Garrison. I'm here representing Marin County District Attorney's Office as well as the people of the state. We are in strong opposition to release of this inmate. I'd like to start with a brief factual summary of what happened during this life crime. The defendant broke into his neighbor's home in the dead of night, brutally raped her, and then murdered her. This woman was 70 years old at the time. The victim was someone that the inmate had known for many years. He grew up in that neighborhood, and through the course of his troubled adolescent years, she actually supported him, gave him little jobs mowing the lawn. And on this night, he chose, premeditated, to go into that house, steal her purse, and rape her. Goes in the back door, enters her bedroom as she's sleeping, and brutally rapes her, stuffing a sweatshirt into her mouth. He then tries to knock her out, repeatedly punching her in the face. He became angry because he was not able to ejaculate, and he takes out that frustration and anger on this helpless 70-year-old. He then makes the mental switch to the decision that he's going to kill her. He drags her to the floor, begins bashing her head against the floor. When that doesn't work, he drags her to the bathroom, where he takes the time to fill up the victim's bathtub so that it's at a depth at which he can drown her in it. He then leaves her bleeding out in the bathroom, takes her purse, and leaves. Now, this inmate has a propensity for this kind of victimization of victims that are weaker than him. He admits that as a child, he molested his two younger sisters. He would go out, hunt down the neighborhood cats, torture, and kill them. This is sociopathic behavior being demonstrated by this inmate, and he poses a serious threat to public safety. I'd also like to add that he hasn't been crime-free while incarcerated. He's participated in numerous restitution schemes, and he fails to internalize what he did on that horrific night. And I'd ask you to deny this ask for parole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moderator.
The next speaker, sorry, go ahead.
No, we don't have any more speaker cards here.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chairperson. The next speaker card I have is for Rose Lovell. Rose, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. I see you. Go ahead.
Perfect. Good morning. Let me know if there are any audio issues. I am one of the grandchildren of Shaun Darut's victim, Jane Ross. I will not repeat the many, many, many concerns about the possibility of parole that I and my family have raised in every parole hearing. And with great thanks to Zach Garrison for that succinct summary. Instead, I'm going to focus on what happened that was different during the last hearing that resulted in this bizarre decision to grant parole. It's been stated that Mr. Darut has made efforts at self-improvement, has worked to address his own trauma, and has demonstrated behavioral stability, and I dispute all of these assertions. First, in the last hearing, he admitted to restitution fraud. And this admission was not addressed in the decision to grant parole. Instead, they stated that he was a model prisoner with no prison rule violations in the same hearing where he admitted to restitution fraud. And there was no stated consideration to this episode of poor judgment. Second, only a few months before the last hearing, he wrote in a letter to one of his support people that 12-step programs were stupid and did not intend to attend them. Yet he had no sponsor, yet his parole plan was to be participating in 12-step programs, and his plan to not relapse in drug use was to call up his sponsor. How does this work? Third, he was required by the parole hearing to engage in CMS program for psychotherapy. His engagement was a therapy session every 3 months. That's nothing, and it's frankly insulting. This is typical behavior for him where he says that he's self-improving, but when you actually ask him what he's doing very minimal effort. And fourth, he has repeatedly failed to complete recommendations made by prior parole hearing panels. That was also not addressed. And finally, he says that he understands his own motives and his crime, but every time that he's asked to demonstrate it, he does not. As an example, when he wrote a letter of apology
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Absolutely, just that he repeated the details of his crime to the family when he wrote a letter to us. Thank you so much for your time today and your consideration.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Shaun Darut and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Shaun Darut, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. We have a hand up. Sarah Wheeler, go ahead. Sarah, you're showing as still muted. There's a little microphone icon by the red button at the top.
Oh, it's on the top.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. Oh, okay, Sarah, you're muted again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
I am the eldest granddaughter of Jane Ross, and I oppose the parole of her murderer, Shaun Darut. It would be wonderful if he were in fact rehabilitated and released without reasonable concern that he would continue to hurt those weaker than him. I believe in rehabilitation and typically agree with concerns that we should not routinely or indefinitely imprison people who committed crimes before maturity. But I know rehabilitation takes work, and Darut has consistently shied away from any such work that is too onerous. He has repeatedly declined to follow parole board recommendations to take a prep course for sexual offenders, take the correspondence course from Sexaholics Anonymous, meet with a CCC clinician, even write a sufficiently insightful response to recommended books. What kind of message does it send if he weighed out an inadequate sentence which did not take into full account his terrorization and vicious rape of someone who cared and advocated for him since childhood? He can fail to attempt multiple advised rehabilitative actions, present little more than conciliatory words to the board, and obtain parole, even in light of his 2023 crime facilitating the denial of restitution to another victim. Sweet-talking his rehabilitators into letting him go so that he may continue harming others is a strategy Darut has relied on since childhood, and to the best of my knowledge, he continues to show little inclination to change this pattern. I ask the board to refrain from taking earnest-sounding words and nonviolent conduct while in a strictly controlled environment as a substitute for hard and meaningful work. I believe Darut is likely to violate the law if granted parole, and I am concerned he will harm others. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Shaun Darut? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Shaun Darut? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Shaun Darut.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Henry Osegueda, F24126. This is item 46 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Henry Osegueda and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Henry Osegueda, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who wants to speak in support of Henry Osegueda? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Henry Osegueda.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Henry Osegueda.
Thank you, Chairperson. Julianne Walker, go ahead for your 2 minutes.
Good morning again. Thank you. Excuse me, I just have to switch over to, here we go. The confidential information dovetails in with the governor's request to have this matter reviewed because of his concerns about insight and tools he will need to maintain healthy relationships in the community. Certainly, the confidential information of restitution avoidance demonstrates current criminal thinking, failure to follow rules, and lack of insight and remorse in continuing to prey upon victims. And this is particularly true since the inmate lied to the panel about it during the hearing. Therefore, LADA requests the board to set a rescission hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Henry Osegueda and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Henry Osegueda, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Henry Osegueda? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak about Henry Osegueda? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Henry Osegueda.
Thank you, moderator. The time is 10:25 a.m. We're going to take a short recess, so we'll be taking a 10-minute break.
Thank you, Chairperson.
The see, time is 10:36, and we'll continue back from recess. We'll be considering cases referred by the governor. The next case is Alli Brown, AY 2227. This is item 47 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. The first speaker card I have is for Alex Benfeld. Alex, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Alex, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. I will go ahead and we will circle back to Alex. If you would like to speak in support of Alli Brown and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you would like to speak in support of Alli Brown, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Alli Brown? I'd like to give one more chance to Alex Benfeld. Alex, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Alex, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Alli Brown.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Alli Brown.
Thank you, Chairperson. We have a speaker card, Jessica Curley, DDA for San Luis Obispo County. Jessica, if you're with us, I see you. Go ahead.
Brown murdered her own daughter, Lily Brown, when she was not yet 2 years old and still in diapers. Inmate Brown, formerly Herbert David Brown, had a relationship with Lily's mother and also committed domestic violence against her. Lily was alone with Brown when police were called after she became non-responsive. Inmate Brown told the police that the baby's bruises seen on her legs and head were from playing, and the dog pulled on a leash that she held, slamming her into a door jamb. Lily was in critical condition and taken to Stanford Medical Center, where doctors diagnosed that she was the victim of being violently shaken, which ended with her head being slammed against something hard at least once. Due to the extent of her injuries at the age of only 23 months, Lily's mother had to make the unfathomable decision to take her off of life support. Lily was pronounced dead. In all of her time incarcerated, Brown didn't express responsibility for Lily's death until Commissioner Long told Brown to do so at the last hearing in just October, and told her that her failure to do so was being a bar to her being paroled. Even then, her account lacked credibility. Brown testified that her sober date was December 12, 2012 at that hearing. However, in explaining the life crime, which occurred over 2 months later in February of 2023, Brown said that one of the causative factors was that she was withdrawing from methamphetamine and hadn't slept in days. She specifically testified that when she committed the life crime and began hitting Lily, "I was looking at a meth pipe and burning it on the stove to get rid of the evidence." Commissioner Long noted this inconsistency. Brown told yet another version of events to the CRA doctor. Brown's differing accounts show a lack of accountability for the callous and deplorable murder of baby Lily, and also revealed that her sober date is not as she claims. The CRA doctor rated Brown a higher moderate risk for violence, noting that she has a long history of substance abuse and significant mental health issues that appear to require ongoing monitoring and treatment. Yet alarmingly, Brown failed to put together a comprehensive relapse
Your
prevention
2
plan
minutes have
for
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
for domestic violence or mental health management. Her most recent write-up for violent conduct was in just 2022. We respectfully ask for you to reconsider this decision and reverse the grant of parole.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Alli Brown and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Alli Brown, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Alli Brown? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Alli Brown? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Alli Brown.
Thank you. The next case is James Caldwell, V90842. This is item 48 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of James Caldwell and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of James Caldwell, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. S. Sanders, you can unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes start when you begin speaking.
Thank you for allowing us this time. I would like to speak in a positive light, hoping and thanking you for even the opportunity that James Caldwell may get another chance at his parole. I pray that the changes that he's made have been evident enough. He for sure has family support at home that is ready to support him in all of his endeavors, some of which also have been previously incarcerated, and also myself included, that work with advocacy programs and reentry programs and have those types of resources that could also give him an additional leg up towards continued success and being able to further show more so than just telling that he has had enough time and that he has actually made a change. Thank you again for the time to speak.
Thank you. Sherry Caldwell, you can unmute yourself and begin speaking.
Good morning. My name is Shakrista Caldwell. I am one of the nieces of James Caldwell. And I just came here this morning first to thank you for even having the chance to be able to speak on his behalf. But I just came to let you know that my uncle is more than just an uncle. I'm sorry. My uncle is more than just an uncle. He's more like a father figure, and he's been gone a very long time. He's made a mistake like many of us have. He's done some things to change his lifestyle. We speak about them all the time. I'm here to support him in any way I can. I also sent in a support letter this morning, and I just ask that you consider giving him a second chance. I thank you and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of James Caldwell? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of James Caldwell.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to James Caldwell.
If you would like to speak in opposition to James Caldwell and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in opposition to James Caldwell, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about James Caldwell? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for James Caldwell.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Albert Campos, AS 0580. This is item 49 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Albert Campos and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Albert Campos, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Albert Campos? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Albert Campos.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Albert Campos.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Albert Campos and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Albert Campos, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Albert Campos? Is there anyone who would like to speak about Albert Campos? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Albert Campos.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Charles Canfield, BD 0348, item 50 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Charles Canfield and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Charles Canfield, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Charles Canfield? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Charles Canfield.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Charles Canfield.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Charles Canfield and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and would like to speak in opposition to Charles Canfield, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Charles Canfield? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Charles Canfield? Hello? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Charles Canfield.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is item 51 on the agenda, Andrew Ceballos, AZ 9569. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker is Nicholas Agbu. Nicholas, if you are with us, please unmute yourself. If you are calling in, please hit *6.
Thank you very much, Commissioners, for the chance to speak in support of sustaining the parole grant of Mr. Ceballos. I was his attorney during his October 2024 parole hearing. And I've gone through the referral letter of the governor, the sole task given to the board is to make a determination as to whether he has adequate parole plan to survive in the street. What is adequate? It simply means satisfactory or acceptable in quality or quantity. Mr. Ceballos has numerous letters of support, verifiable job offers, robust family support network, multiple transition letters of acceptance, and his most current CRA, rated him low, gave 0 when it came to aggravating factors and 8 mitigating factors, including the fact that his parole plan was adequate, never sustained any rule violation in prison all through his incarceration. This is an example of a model prisoner. I urge you to sustain the parole grant of Mr. Ceballos. Commissioner Sheffield and Deputy Commissioner Stein was emphatic when they said he has all he needed by way of parole plan, rehabilitation plan to survive in the society before they granted him parole. Please, I urge you, sustain that grant and I submit. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Andrew Caballos and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Andrew Caballos, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of Andrew Caballos? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Andrew Caballos.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Andrew Ceballos.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Andrew Ceballos and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Andrew Ceballos, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak in opposition to Andrew Ceballos? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Andrew Ceballos? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Andrew Ceballos.
Thank you, moderator. Next case is item 52 on the agenda, Richard Contreras, AC 6537. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker is Ava Lopez. If you are with us, please unmute yourself. If you are calling in, please hit *6. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin speaking.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for having me on here and giving me an opportunity to speak. I am here in support of Richard Contreras. I've had the privilege of knowing Richard since 2017, and in the time of getting to know him, he's demonstrated significant personal growth. He's shown deep remorse for his actions and is continuously doing a lot of work to show that there is potential for his rehabilitation. Richard Contreras continuously takes responsibility for his actions and is committed to making positive changes in his life. He's actively participating in rehabilitative groups such as anger management, substance abuse programs, Narcotics Anonymous, CGA, and is showing a great desire for self-improvement and working hard to pursue his career as a counselor to be able to help others overcome their hardships with addiction. I have no doubts in his ability to make a positive impact on society when he is released. He has a strong support system of friends, family, and mentors, including myself, who see the potential for him to lead a productive and law-abiding life if given the opportunity to have a second chance back in society. If his release is granted, I personally would like to support Richard by offering him a job at my commercial janitorial business and being his support to getting to and from his counseling sessions, having emotional support and financial support, and any other parole appointments that are required of him. In conclusion, I'd like to take this time to thank you for your consideration and kindly ask you to review Richard's case with compassion. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Richard Contreras and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Richard Contreras, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Richard Contreras? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Richard Contreras.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Richard Contreras.
Our first speaker would be Priscilla Rivas. Priscilla, if you are with us, please unmute yourself. If you are calling in, please hit *6. Your 2 minutes begins when you begin speaking.
Hi, my name is Priscilla Rivas. I am the niece of Renee Mora, who was killed due to the actions of Richard Contreras. My uncle passed away when I was 9 years old, and just at the age of 9, my childhood was ripped apart of me because of Contreras. The trauma from that day still haunts me, and it wounds my whole family. Sorry. And my family still struggles to cope with my life after losing him. As I think of my past memories of my uncle, I still don't have any. And although I wish I could say the memories I have of right now, I don't. I will never get to see, my uncle will never get to see me on my special days, like walking the stage on my upcoming high school graduation, and just recently my senior prom. I'm asking you, with all the pain I carry, to consider the true cost of his actions, to consider not just the legal aspects of his case, but the humane ones, to consider the victims whose lives will never be the same, and to take into account that the trauma he caused because of over time, it is something that the lives inside of us forever, that lives inside of us forever. And it is for that reason and so many others that I ask you to keep him incarcerated, for the sake of the victims, for the sake of justice, and for the sake of those who still live in the shadow of his violence. Thank you for the time, for considering my words. I trust you will make the right decision for the victims and for the justice and for the safety of our community.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Renee Mora. Renee, if you are with us, please unmute yourself. If you are calling in, please hit *6. Your 2 minutes begins when you start speaking.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Renee Mora. I'm Renee's dad. On Valentine's Day of 2016, my family's lives changed forever by the acts of Richard Contreras. I was mad, sad, angry, heartbroken. We would never be the same family, happy family that we were. Richard Contreras took my son's and his friend's lives in a very irresponsible way while he was under the influence of drugs and alcohol. He already had a really bad record. I don't know how he was in the streets. 9 years later, he's looking to be a free man. I think that would be a terrible mistake, to let a gang member walk in the streets looking to see who he's going to kill next. And yes, there was a hung jury in the decision, which I think was very unfair. After all the evidence, no matter what, he killed 2 innocent teenagers. I don't agree with him for be back in society. I just don't think he's fit to be in society. My son and I had lots of goals. He graduated from high school. He had a steady job. He was a real smart gentleman. Lastly, I fear for my and my family's lives, because we know that Richard Contreras is a very dangerous person. Like I say, gang members always retaliate. I just feel that he should be accountable for the murders that he committed. and I'm asking for to deny his parole. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Richard Contreras. If you are with us, please unmute yourself. If you are calling in, please hit *6. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin speaking. Richard Contreras.
Moderator, that's the name of the agenda item?
It is. We'll circle back. If you are on, if you would like to speak in opposition to Richard Contreras and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Richard Contreras, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Richard Contreras? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who'd like to speak about Richard Contreras? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Richard Contreras.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Austin Farley, AS 2905. This is item 43 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Austin Farley and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Austin Farley, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Austin Farley? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Austin Farley.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to Austin Farley.
Our first speaker is Tasha Sarouche. If you are with us, please unmute yourself. If you are calling in, please hit *6.
I'm here.
Your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Inmate Farley has had, among other diagnoses, obsessive-compulsive disorder for his entire adult life. His ritualistic behaviors and anxiety led him to self-medicate with alcohol. He was on probation for a DUI, having completed all the months of rehabilitation, classes, lectures, and video advisals, when he took pills and drank to a .20 blood alcohol level. He then slammed into a car with 5 people, killing 1 minor and seriously injuring 2 others. Before the life crime, he was diagnosed with OCD. His family was able to negotiate treatment in lieu of criminal consequences. When he arrived at the top OCD treatment center in the U.S., he, quote, absolutely lied to his providers. He refused treatment. When he murdered someone and was allowed access to the mental health delivery system, he again chose not to get treatment in order not to hurt his chances for parole because it would look bad. This is the essence of aggravating offender change. The inmate recognizes it is the causative factor for the murder, admits he still has this issue, admits he faces paralyzing anxiety to this day, but refuses to get treatment for it. The inmate admitted, quote, yeah, I used manipulation, justification, I rationalized irrational behavior, all that, absolutely. Yet that clearly was continued through his scant few years of incarceration. Instead of actually caring about treating his disorder and seeing a therapist, he manipulated his time to appear to have a crippling psychiatric major mental disorder under control. But don't worry, he says he will get help for the first time, but only if you release him. The board's obligation is to the public. If this inmate who has not treated his OCD in years gets out, turns to his known self-medication of alcohol, anyone who is unlucky enough to be near him on the road could be murdered. An inmate who admits they manipulated the board by appearing to not have a major mental disorder by refusing treatment and is an extreme risk to the public and engaging in the same manipulation and rationalization which led to a murder. This grant is premature.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Austin Farley and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Austin Farley, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken in opposition to Austin Farley who would like to speak? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Austin Farley? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Austin Farley.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is John Jackson, K85411, item 54 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker is Julianne Walker. Julianne, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
I believe
I'm actually in opposition.
I am sorry about that. I apologize. If you would like to speak in support of John Jackson and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of John Jackson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of John Jackson? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of John Jackson.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition to John Jackson.
Our first speaker is Julianne Walker.
Good morning again. With respect to now Ms. Jackson, the people are concerned about a number of problems that are still demonstrated in the most recent parole hearing. One is the denial of the specific violent acts for which he was charged. And that is disturbing that still after all this time, there's a continual denial and minimization of all the acts perpetrated upon this 12-year-old victim. Secondly, while it's commendable that at this point it would appear the inmate read Road to Freedom and wrote some book reports about it, wrote a book report about it. The problem is, in the prior panel, the inmate lied about that, didn't read the whole book, and then while coming clean on this, did indicate that learned a lot from it this time. But the other thing is the inmate lied about a number of things, and simply coming clean about it at this hearing doesn't warrant a grant. What it does give is a clue that there has been a lot of criminal thinking, lack of credibility, and out lying to panels very recently. And given that, along with the comments made a number of board meetings ago by Ms. Connie Lasky from another county, that the Road to Freedom is meant to be used as a tool, not read as a correspondence course. It's meant to be part of individual therapy as well as group therapy. And without those components, it's not enough simply to do the book on your own. And it would appear—
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. Given all that, it would appear that this is an improvident grant and that John Jackson is not ready for release. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in opposition to John Jackson and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to John Jackson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to John Jackson? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about John Jackson? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for John Jackson.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Scott Jones, H79223. This is item 55 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Scott Jones and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Scott Jones, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Scott Jones? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Scott Jones.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Scott Jones and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Scott Jones, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Scott Jones? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Scott Jones? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Scott Jones.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is item 56 on the agenda, Kenneth Osako, AZ8536. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
The first speaker is Tien Nguyen. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tien Nguyen, and I am currently employed with Family Bridges as a program manager and co-founder of Thrive, a nonprofit. I'm here today to speak in support of Kenneth Osako, Parole, and to share from my personal experience and professional experience why I believe he is ready to return to the greater community. As someone who served a life sentence, I was given an opportunity through the Board of Parole hearing process to contribute to the community I was returning to. I know the challenges a parolee may face when paroled and what options are available to work with those challenges. I've had the opportunity to get to know Ken for almost 10 years. When I first met Ken, he shared with me his experience and how to navigate my own carceral experience. Through our journey together, we sought to transform our lives and to reflect on our past choices that created so much pain and suffering. Ken has done the inner work through programs such as the Offender Mentor Certification Program, where he and I both graduated together as certified alcohol and drug counselors. In making these positive changes in his own life, he has impacted others through the parallel process to make transformative changes in their lives. At Family Bridges and Thrive, we are prepared to support Ken's reentry journey. Our team provides housing navigation, accessing public benefits, employment readiness, transportation support, and wraparound services tailored to meet people where they are. If granted parole, Ken will have a safe and supportive environment, access to community care, and structured path toward long-term stability and contribution. Our organization believes in transformation, and in Ken's case, we believe his next chapter will be one of healing, purpose, and service. I respectfully urge you to consider granting parole for Kenneth Osako. Thank you for your consideration.
Our next speaker is Mark Wazex. Mark, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Thank you. Good morning, board. Mark Wasak in support of Mr. Osako. I did submit a written statement. With regard to the governor's concerns, Mr. Osako's hearing last October was remarkable, specifically because of how thorough the discussion was about specific challenges he will face upon parole. Mr. Osako's presentation to Commissioner Long and Deputy Commissioner Adams was also remarkable for how robust and concrete his specifically targeted relapse prevention plans are and how concrete his parole plans are. I urge the board to affirm the decision Commissioner Long and Deputy Commissioner Adams made in October, and I thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Kaylani Osako. Kaylani, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Hi, my name is Keilani Osako. I'm here to vocalize my support, though I did submit a written statement. I'd also just like to vocalize my support for my father and also on the behalf of my siblings who unfortunately are working today and can't be here. I took the day to take the time to talk to you and thank you for your time in reviewing the case. My father has been incarcerated since 2014, and since then, it's been a journey of healing for all of us. I share in his remorse for his crimes and his mistakes, but I want to just make a promise to you that if granted parole, he will come home to a loving and supportive family, because we do love him, and I'm so proud of him. I just want to express that in words. So again, I did submit the written statement. I just want to express in words that we are extremely proud of how far he's come and how much he has transformed. At the beginning, I was not able to see through the situation, and it was very difficult for me to accept the circumstances, as I'm sure for many, especially the victims' families, that was. But over this decade, watching his transformation has not only healed him, but has also helped heal us as well. All of the things that I learned from him, all the things that he's taught me through becoming a facilitator, a group counselor, taking NA classes and AA classes, has truly inspired all of us out here to join him on this journey of healing and of growth and transformation. Again, I just wanted to respectfully and humbly assure you that upon return home, if he's granted, that he will be taken care of by my family, and that he will continue on this path of healing and of helping the world. Again, respectfully.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Sorry, yeah, I look forward to the future and the lives that he will save moving forward. Again, thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
We have a hand raised for Dar again.
Hello everybody. Thank you first and foremost for just having the opportunity to have Ken be in this situation, to have a second chance at life. I first have met Ken in Lancaster State Prison. I was actually a life without the possibility of parole person, and was commuted by Governor Newsom in 2022. Today, I work for API Rise, a reentry organization that specializes in working with the API community upon returning home. Kenneth will have our full services, which include care member support, internship programs, and job resources. We have also an internship with NBCU, in which if he shows his interest, we'll have can have a position there as well. One thing we noticed of when I came home was finding a way to build community. Mr. Osako has been doing that while he was incarcerated. In Lancaster, he was the very first person that came from the OMCP program to our yard. And he was very intentional in everything that he did. He moved classes in ways that I really haven't really seen facilitators do. And he was very graceful in his approach. I know that the life crime is static and that doesn't change, but that doesn't mean Ken didn't change. And he showed that throughout the last 10 years. And I hope that you all can see that and give him that second chance. Thank you.
We have another hand raised for Kuhn Talk. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Yes. I would like to start off by thanking the commissioners for giving us this space to represent Ken. I am Helena Touch. I am a peer support specialist intern here at the Prism Way. I am a California justice leader working with criminalized youth and helping them navigate reentry as they return home. I want to speak about Ken as a mentor. He came over to California State Prison, Los Angeles County, as one of the first person to teach OMCP, the Drug Offender Mentorship Program. And from his work, there are guys that he taught out here that are actively doing the work. In many conversations with my mentor, Kenneth Osako, we spoke in depth about remorse, about the people he harmed, about the work that he is doing. And one thing that always surprised me is how he's always working. He was in college, he was mentoring me, he was teaching OMCP, and he was essentially never in the cell, doing community work while incarcerated. I remember working for a facility captain who once said, what better example of a man, because he was in a men's prison, redemption, than somebody who is doing the work where nobody is looking. And Kenneth Osako exemplified that in full force. I have been home as a former lifer about 6 months now. So if given the chance, Kenneth Osako will have resources in reentry navigation, with housing, with Cal State LA if he chooses to come to LA, and if he chooses to stay in the Bay Area and get released
Your 2
there
minutes have
and
elapsed. Please
continue.
conclude your statement.
We will have full support from the Prism Way and other partnering organizations. Thank you.
Our next hand raised is for Frank Garcia. Frank, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Hello, my name is Frank Garcia. I'm a peer support specialist at the Prism Way. For me, I like to speak on Kenneth Osako's character. So I'm formerly incarcerated. I've known him for over 7 years now. And for me, I've always seen him as somebody that carried himself with purpose, right? And he came in and he taught the OMCP program there when I was there in Lancaster. And also he was a big influence to me in our community that we had there at Lancaster, as far as like things and situations and conversations we had on the yard and the building, live conversations and things. He was a big influence on me and my change and what I needed to do for myself as far as like grow as a person. I was found suitable for parole in 2023. I've been home a little over a year now, and I'm doing a substance abuse counseling course. And for me, he was a big influence in doing that type of work. We offer our full support here at the Prism Way. We have a lot of reentry services we can provide him. And for me, Ken represents like a true definition of remorse. When we have our conversations, for me, remorse is never being that person that committed that life crime, that committed the offense, right? Never being that person in honor of the person you harmed, right? True remorse is being a person that's changed, that will never commit something like that again. And I believe Kenneth Osako is one of those individuals that expressed true remorse by his change. So for me, I support him fully in his reentry back into society. I think he'll be a positive influence. Thank you.
Our next hand raised is for Christopher Calkins.
I was asking to use your phone, but I just have to recall.
Christopher, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Hi. I met Ken whenever I moved into the room with him. And let me start off with who I am. So I'm Chris Calkins. I am currently working at NBC Universal through the internship program that Dara mentioned, and was just offered a full-time job from that internship opportunity. I met Ken whenever I first moved in with him in 2024. And he definitely taught me that I had a lot to work to do on myself. And that's what he was. He was a teacher. After about a week of knowing him, we sat down and we developed a domestic violence course for the yard that didn't have one. And in that domestic violence course, he had a lot more input than I did because he's done a lot of work on that. I've known him as not only a friend, but like he became a brother, you know, after living with him for 6-7 months. He definitely contributed to me being able to contribute to society right now. You know, I mean, he's an upstanding person, and I really think that given the chance, I know that he's going to make a difference out here. And we need people like him out here to change how others think. I know that he has plans to utilize his OMCP training and certifications out here in the community, and it's something that we dearly need. When Ken is released into society, I do not think that he is a harm to anybody. He will be an asset to our community. Thank you.
If you'd like to speak in support of Kenneth Osako and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Kenneth Osako, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Kenneth Osako? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Kenneth Osako.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Kenneth Osako.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Kenneth Osako and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition to Kenneth Osako, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Kenneth Osako? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Kenneth Osako? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Kenneth Osako.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Dwayne Osborne, H02854. This is item 57 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support. And moderator, we do have a speaker card here. Keith Watley, sir.
I am here, but I'll defer to the family who's also on the phone first, if that's okay, Commissioner.
Certainly.
All right. The first speaker card we have is Nicole Rivard Williams. Nicole, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Nicole, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. My name is Nicole Rivard Williams, and I am on this call in support of Dwayne Osborne. We have been friends for over 20 years, and we've became family over these years. For Dwayne, I just want to say that he is doing his work with unwavering love for his family and his friends, and his personal desires to continue to grow, to be a great man of God. He has been making lifestyle changes, and he's also accepted accountability for the action that he's done. I just want to say that I'm here in 100% support of Dwayne in anything that him or his wife needs from me and my family. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Kevin Washington. Kevin, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm Kevin Washington. I'm the mother of Dwayne Osborne. I'm writing to express my heartfelt support for the parole consideration of my son, Dwayne Osborne. I approach you not only as his mother, but also as someone who has closely witnessed his growth and sincerely effort to rebuild his life from inside out. The man Dwayne is today, the man that Dwayne is today, not the same man who entered the correctional system. Over the years, he has shown clear and constant determination to take responsibility for his past, to understand the pain and actions caused, and to become someone who adds value to the lives of others rather than harm. His journey has not been easy, but it
Are you still with us, ma'am? All right, I'll go ahead and pause her time, see if we can't get her to come back. Next speaker is Desiree Osborne. Desiree Osborne, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Desiree, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, dear commissioners, my name is Desiree Osborne. I am Dwayne Osborne's wife. I'm here to share how I will support Dwayne as he comes back to the community. I'm committed to not drinking to help my husband to have a healthy sobriety. I will take him to his appointments and also support him in his AA meetings. I will make sure he adheres to his parole condition and does not break any laws. I will help him to get his driver's license back with the restrictions of the breathalyzer. I will also help him to apply for jobs by putting his resume online, for an example, Indeed, and etc. I will also help him apply for school to take the different courses in counseling to help others with the addiction. His family cannot wait to be with him again. I love him and thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you. Next speaker we have is Deontay Osborne. Deontay, go ahead and unmute.
Hello, board. My name is Deontay. I'm here for my grandpa, Dwayne Osborne. He has been away from us for 3 years. He has been gone for way too long. I keep thinking he's going to come back home, but he keeps on sending him back. We talk on the phone every day, and we talk about going fishing, but we can't. This is hard on me and my mental state and my mental health. I want to hug him and say I love him every day.
Thank you. The next speaker is Dean Osborne.
Hello, board. My name is Dion McNeese. I miss my grandpa. I do not understand why they keep on holding him back. I hope he comes home soon. Thank you, board.
Thank you, Dean. And now we have Keith Watley, and I believe he's in person. Go ahead, sir.
Keith Watley from Uncommon Law. Dwayne Osborne had 3 prior DUIs while out on parole following his release from a life sentence. He was sent to prison on his 4th DUI. That was 3 years ago. That was before he was diagnosed with post-incarceration syndrome, before he obtained 2 substance abuse counselors and a clinical therapist, and before he had 3 years of sobriety. The key question in an en banc referral is whether there's anything the granting panel failed or refused to consider in making its decision. The governor specifically asked the board to evaluate Mr. Osborne's parole plans, and in particular, his relapse prevention plans and the strength of his social supports. My letter to you lists the specific pages on which each of these areas is discussed at length. It's literally all the panel talked about during the 2-hour hearing. Dwayne's been following his relapse prevention plan without fail or relapse for the 3 years he's been in custody. 2 panels of commissioners have now reviewed the same plan and found that he has successfully used it to maintain his sobriety. See pages 23, 30, 45, 47, 51, 56, and 66 of the parole hearing transcript. They discuss his parole plans and social supports. 2 counselors, licensed therapist, mother, sister, wife, Desiree, who's changed her life to support his sobriety. Read pages 28 to 30, 33, 40, 41, and 44 to 45. His acceptance into transitional housing, employment, and transportation are on pages 63, 64, 67 to 68, and 88. They found Dwayne has very realistic plans for housing, a significant support network. He understands the importance of continuing therapy and has identified people he can reach out to, including sponsors, therapists, and his spouse. They found his relapse prevention plans were realistic, and he's addressed the root causes of his alcoholism. See pages 86 to 87 of their decision. Dwayne's second consecutive parole grant must be affirmed so he can finally rejoin his family. Thank you.
Thank you. Would like to give a chance for Kevin Washington. You had about 30 seconds left before you dropped off. If you would like to return and finish your statement. Kevin Washington. All right. If you would like to speak in support of Dwayne Osborne and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Dwayne Osborne, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Dwayne Osborne? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Dwayne Osborne.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take speakers in opposition to Dwayne Osborne.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have a speaker card for Julianne Walker. Julianne, if you're with us, go ahead for your 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning again. You know, I can't disagree with the fact that the parole plans and the support group were gone into in great detail during the hearing, and I'm not going to substitute my weighing of factors and situations that I wasn't there myself to observe. And certainly on record, it looks like things have been discussed at length. However, I do disagree with the panel in not limiting sufficiently the DUI effect on his driving. And if the court, if I believe it's when the panel affirms this grant, I would ask that the special condition be added that he not drive at all, 0, while on parole. He has too many DUIs. It's too dangerous to the community, and it's just not appropriate for him to drive at all until he gets through his parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition to Dwayne Osborne and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you wish to speak in opposition to Dwayne Osborne, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Dwayne Osborne? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wishes to speak about James Osborne? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Dwayne Osborne.
Thank you, moderator. The next case is Chad Swanson, G04298, item 58 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Chad Swanson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you wish to speak in support of Chad Swanson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Chad Swanson? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Chad Swanson.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition.
If you would like to speak in opposition to Chad Swanson and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I see we have a hand. Go ahead, Connie Lasky.
Good morning, Commissioners. The Deputy District Attorney, who is the original trial attorney, attended the October parole hearing and opposed to this parole decision. He shares the governor's concerns and asked me to emphasize the heinousness of the inmate's crime spree. While the inmate was only 19 years old at the time that he committed 2 murders within the same week, he was in a leadership position during both of these murders, involving younger gang members in his murderous acts. When he assassinated his mother's ex-boyfriend, he woke the victim up who was asleep on the lawn. Rather than just forcibly removing him from the property, he shot him multiple times. Less than a week later, the inmate feigned car trouble. When his friend got out of the car to check the engine, the inmate shot and killed him. These murders were not impulsive and did not show the hallmark features of youth. The people ask this board to reverse this improvident grant of parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Chad Swanson, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition to Chad Swanson? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Chad Swanson? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Chad Swanson.
Thank you, moderator. The last case today is Charles Willits, P20434. This is item 59 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in support of Charles Willits and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Charles Willits, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Charles Willits? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Charles Willits.
Thank you, moderator. We'll now take speakers in opposition.
Thank you, Chairperson. If you would like to speak in opposition to Charles Willits and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition to Charles Willits, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to Charles Willits? Is there anyone who wishes to speak about Charles Willits? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Charles Willits.
Thank you, moderator. We will now take comments from anyone who has not yet spoken and wants to comment on a case on today's agenda. And moderator, I do believe we have somebody who wants to speak for the Demetrius Franklin case.
Yes, Aaron Breeden. Thank you, Chairperson. Go ahead and unmute, Aaron. I can see that you're with us. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Yes, and thank you very much, and good morning, board. I apologize for being tardy. I was the attorney that represented Mr. Franklin at his grant hearing, and I wanted to point out some information regarding the April 7 memorandum regarding the participation in a riot. It should be noted that Mr. Franklin was stabbed a number of times, approximately 3 to 4 days prior to that riot. I think that any confidential information regarding that issue, even if it's incriminating, should be taken with a grain of salt. I would point out where Mr. Franklin is. He is at Salinas Valley Prison, which is, as commissioners know, a very challenging institution for, I think, everyone there. As to the memorandum dated March 14, the first thing I wanted to address was the book and clothing line being published. That's listed in his CRA, in the 2022 CRA, and it actually seems to be listed as a positive. It's unclear whether or not Mr. Franklin knew anything about the requirements for that, and I don't necessarily see that as being a nexus to current dangerousness. In regards to the other issues, the EED fraud, as well as the restitution, I would note in regard to restitution, Mr. Franklin has a vast social network, as reflected in the master packet. Many people seem to be on this guy's side. So, I think that goes towards, potentially people putting money on his books. It's unclear what the concern was. In regard to the EED fraud, Mr. Franklin did bring that up at his hearing himself. He had testified that he had received paperwork from the IRS and that the state, and that he had tried to clear that up. More importantly, Mr. Franklin does demonstrate suitability. His 2022 CRA listed him as a moderate, but the clinician in 2022 noted that that they had considered a lower rating, and that was approximately 2 years prior to his grant here. So he continued to
Your
program.
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I will. Mr. Franklin availed himself to 5011, and I think that the implications of that there's a great magnitude to that, combined with his parole and programming. He is suitable for parole. I would ask this board to find him suitable and uphold that grant. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of or opposition to any case on today's agenda? If you're on video, please press the raise your hand button. If participating by telephone, unmute by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for today's cases.
Thank you, moderator. Does any board member wish to request an agenda item for a future meeting? Hearing none. We'll now hear comments from the public regarding general matters relating to the board. We will not be taking comments on individual cases right now. Comments concerning future parole hearings are not permitted during this meeting. Please send those comments to the board for inclusion in the materials for that hearing. Comments are limited to 2 minutes and there is no opportunity for rebuttal. Please wait to speak until we call your name or identify you by your login information. Moderator, is there anyone seeking to make a general comment related to the board?
Yes, we have a couple of cards for Vanessa Nelson Sloan.
Thank you. I want to speak on the restitution issue again, not to beat a dead horse, but I'd like to suggest that the board provide some direction on how to address this issue adequately from the board's point of view. Honesty goes without saying. We always advise everyone to be completely honest with the board. But today's en banc discussions indicate that some of the people who were referred here for restitution issues were honest with the board and discussed it. And the panel then found that discussion sufficient and granted them parole, only to have them come back here on the restitution issue. So obviously, these things are usually, when they come back like for restitution issues, the grants are usually rescinded. So something is wrong here. One panel finds it satisfactory, the rest of the people do not. Yes, we understand that there's great discretion amongst the board members on what suitability means. However, clearly there is no uniformity in how this is being considered amongst panels. And I think that is owed to the inmate population. That's what the law promises, is uniformity in consideration. So some of the commissioners have offered us their information or their comments on what they're looking for from this, but I think something from the board entirely would be very helpful to the population, because these guys don't know what they're looking for. Also, what is considered recent? Some of the people that were engaged in restitution fraud was 3 years ago. Is that recent? Some other things aren't considered recent at 3 years. We need some direction. We need some direction so that we can advise the population. The population needs some direction from you too. So I'm asking for some of that, please, at your earliest convenience. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Claudia Cesena. I don't know if she's in person. Oh, she is. Perfect. Go ahead.
In person. Good morning. My name is Claudia Cesena. I'm the staff attorney at the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights. I represent people at the parole hearing, and I'm on coalitions driving meaningful parole reform efforts. My comment today is about BPH using unreliable MAT tests to deny people parole. Using unreliable tests is a huge problem because it discourages people from getting the help they need in their rehabilitation journey. The board's psychologists and commissioners should immediately stop using patients' treatment records in considering people's suitability for parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to make a general comment and are on video, please raise your hand in Microsoft Teams and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. We have a hand raised. Cynthia Brewer. Go ahead.
Thank you, and almost good afternoon, commissioners. Again, I want to address an issue that's been newly presented during today's and yesterday's agenda. This month, BPH has asserted attorney-client privilege for several of the cases that have been on the agenda. Such an assertion deprives DAs of an understanding of the issues that have been identified by BPH Legal. Hearings have already been conducted, and there are records by way of transcripts of these hearings. So none of this information is akin to confidential information. This claim of attorney-client privilege does not comport with BPH's ongoing assertion that they are attempting to be transparent. We respectfully ask that BPH provide us with clear reasons regarding why each case is placed on the agenda so that we may adequately prepare, represent the people of the state of California, and protect public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. To make a general comment by telephone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to make a general comment? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for general comments.
Thank you, moderator. On behalf of my colleagues, I wish to thank everyone for participating today. We will recess the open session of the April Executive Board meeting at this time. We will reconvene in open session tomorrow at 9 a.m. This meeting is now in recess. Time is 11:52 a.m.